Hello, maintenance. This is Roger. I'm up at the office and there is a monkey up here jumping off of my desk. Listen, I got clothes out today. I got the regional coming and the last thing I need is a monkey in my leasing office. So if you don't mind, please come down and bring a net, bring a cage. I don't care. Bring a plunger, but something to get this monkey out of my office. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, hey, welcome to By the Fifth. It's your boy, Roger Trent. Of course, you know, you can call me Tico. Oh, man, last episode was crazy, right? I mean, we spoke with my boy, Antoine Yates. This man had a monkey get loose in the leasing office. Of course, we talked about much more than that, but I just thought that was hilarious. You know, that episode was wild, pun intended. It was wild. I mean, to see how his mom cultivated his love for animals and all the way up to when he, because of his environment, he got into selling drugs, but then looked in the mirror and said, you know what, this ain't for me. To putting a down payment on some property so that he can have a sanctuary for his animals. Today it's going to get deeper. Listen, we've seen it on TV. We've seen the news. We've read the papers that talked about him being mauled by his tiger Ming. Mr. Yates says that is not true. Why is that not true? We're going to find out today on this episode, and we're going to talk about that whole experience, how that happened. Yeah, this is going to be good. So we appreciate you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share with a friend. And man, thanks again for listening to By the Fifth podcast. Let's get to our episode. So the alligator is there with the tiger and the rabbit, and everything is in free harmony.
Because there's a method to my madness now. Because when I raise animals, it's not, like I said, it's not just about love. My first thing, what I wanted to do was, or whenever I have animals, my first thing is to create a foundation.
Okay.
All right. And that's to understand them. And when I say understand them, I want to know everything there is about this animal, this particular species. What's their diet, what's their weight, what's their thought pattern, because every animal breaks down to, like, you can have two lions, but two different personalities. So in order to understand them, you have to have a foundation, and that's when your relationship falls into play. And some of that relationship is based on you as a person as well. Because if you're a hot-tempered person, then you see the conflict. See, I'm more of a spiritual person and very calm. I'm only aggressive when needed to. And that's where that foundation comes. So if I'm learning his personality, I know what triggers him and what don't, when to be aggressive and when not to.
So at this point in your life, okay, so, you've went through the different types of animals, but at this point in your life, you're living in an apartment, in your New York apartment. You have Al, your alligator, 10 foot. You have your tiger, you have your rabbit. Everybody's living in harmony, all in this apartment. Are you having guests come by? Do people know this? No. To be honest, because people like to create their own narrative, and I never really dispute about them. I just let people talk and think what they want to think. As long as they're not being disrespectful or violating my space, go ahead and do you. But yes, to answer your question, we always in harmony. And when I say harmony, I'm not talking about a fairy tale harmony. I'm talking about grits and grind harmony, to where this is a position you have to earn for yourself. You know what I mean? Because you are dealing with a 500-pound predator that can kill you or anybody at any time. Mm-hmm. And me having knowledge of that, ain't no way in the world I was going to bring somebody else inside there, because I don't know. Now I know him, but I don't know how they act and respond. And the first thing they can do can trigger his instinct off. Do you see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't even jeopardize that. And I appreciate you clearing that up because I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of things on the internet and a lot of stories that people have told, nothing firsthand from you, but saying that, you have roommates during this time and all of this.
Yeah, yeah. If I just said it clear as day, I let people
Yes.
create their own narrative. You never heard me try to defend myself.
Mm-hmm.
You never heard me get out there and put my story out there. It's
Yes.
all about what somebody else think and say. They create this narrative over you, just like they say I was molded.
Yes. Yes.
You know, okay. At that time, I weighed about 150 pounds, maybe 500 pounds. If a tiger was to jump on a 150-pound man, come on now.
Yes. Yes. Right.
You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yes.
So that's up to the general public to sit back and say, "Wow, these people are trying to bamboozle us," or that's the truth. Me, I throw my hands up. If that's what you choose to believe, believe. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I was already in a no-win situation, but I'm at peace with it because I was doing what I love to do. I know people in jail right now for standing on the corner selling drugs, and I know for a fact they didn't love doing that.
Mm. Wow. Wow. So with you having this knowledge already, you've already studied and you're living with, these creatures. Is that what kept you from being fearful, or were you ever fearful?
I don't have too many fears, and that come through my spirituality and not animals. You know what I mean? Like I'm more than just a guy that raised a tiger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of my fears, I can count on one hand how many fears I have, and that's about one or two.
Mm.
And one of my fears, which I shouldn't fear because everybody gotta die, and I do understand that. But one of my fears is just losing my mother, and
Mm.
and my other fear is not being able to live life the way I would love to live it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only fears. I don't have any other fears.
Wow. And they say that you fear things that you aren't knowledgeable on, which is why I wondered about that, because you were so knowledgeable, about your tigers and all of that, perhaps that played a part, but you just naturally don't have those fears, is what you're saying.
No, yeah, I naturally don't have those fears. It's something I was born with or developed as I was young. But at this time and that I'm talking to you,
Hmm.
and even back then, I didn't have any fears.
Wow. Wow.
If I had a slight bit of fear, right, the
Hmm.
minute he bit me, I would have lost my life.
Mm.
The minute that I showed fear, our relationship would have been damaged.
Mm. Wow.
Because if you remember, I got bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what shocked everybody. So that goes to show how deep my relationship went, how much my understanding goes. You see what I'm saying? Because you can take your average person, a lot of people have been bit by tigers, right? And a lot of them didn't survive. And there's another mass amount of them that had people to help them get the tiger off of them.
Mm.
And here's one fact you got to understand. People in zoos or animal sanctuaries or have any type of affiliations with animals run a lot of smoke and mirrors as well, because you have to understand, I spent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year locked in an apartment room with a tiger.
Hmm.
You can't get any deeper or scarier than that.
Yes.
So if you got a person that work in the zoo, this is what they do. They clean the cages while the animal is not even in the cage,
Hmm.
right? They slide a tray in there to feed them. They may play with them, a little bit of rec, no more than an hour, hour and a half, and that's it. Not too much contact compared to a person that's with contact 24-hour consistently. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's a challenge in its own.
Right.
It's some people can't stay in the house with another person for 24 hours.
Right, right. Those are
Right.
facts. Right. Oh my gosh, that's a great point. That is a great point. So, are you like, how is your feeding schedules? As far as feeding them, how is your feeding schedule?
Ooh, that's the hard part. That was the challenging part too. I created a diet for me, Al. It's a whole different feeding method. See, I'm gonna have to go in depth real quick. Me, I created a diet and a schedule. So he ate about 25 pounds of meat a day, broken up some days in three or two supplements.
Wow.
All of my animals, no matter what they are, even myself, fast on Sundays. None of us eat, just water. Now with Al, I had to feed him by hand because I started with him as young like that, and that was another challenge because I like to get in the mind of things, right?
Okay.
So I used to sit down and watch him a lot for hours, just sit down and just look at him and see his movement. So I developed a concept for him. When I used to feed him, I fed him on vibration taps. So that means if I tap the floor twice, I'm feeding you. If I tap it three times, that's cleaning your cage. If I tap it once, that's just to get your attention. So this is what I programmed him during the years. Every day, boom, boom, and I wouldn't feed him unless I tapped twice. And he understood that vibration because an alligator brain is about the size of a dime. So this is more about programming more than having a relationship with him. Ming is totally different. That's a relationship. He warm blooded. Certain things he can understand and grasp. The alligator, you're talking about millions of years of evolution, but still the same size brain.
Wow. Wow. And you developed the tap technique?
And I also created a biofiltration system to break down the feces and turn it to a liquid form that was senseless that's actually is reusable. So it turns black water into gray water. Black water is like feces, piss, and everything that's in your toilet. Gray water, like you can use in your washing machines or you can water your gardens. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I
Wow.
also, created. So that's what I mean by having the animals. What do you do next? Do you just stand still or do you start to evolve?
Wow. So you really had this down to a science.
Yeah, I've been doing this since 3 years old. See, you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Man, that is amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. You see these different things on TV that they show with people with animals but none of them are doing what you're talking about. Like, so I
No,
know you've got to watch some of these shows like Tiger King and shake your head.
no. Here's what's funny, right? And you're gonna laugh at me.
Hmm.
I only been to one zoo in my life. I don't really watch animal shows. The only animal show I used to watch was Marlon Perkins, Wild Kingdom, and that's way back in the days. So I don't watch a lot of this modern stuff because it's all propaganda, politics. So I really don't, you know what I'm saying, get into that. Now I may sit down and talk with somebody, but depending on how the conversation goes, I won't indulge in it. If not, I'll just say, nice to meet you, and blah, blah, blah. And I'll go my own separate way. I don't have no comments about what you doing or how you doing it because everybody have their own method. Who am I to judge the next person? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just like that tap technique really got me over a tripping that you were able to do that.
I could show you 1,000 different techniques, man. Like even I have went to Disney World, Wild Kingdom. I was invited there with a friend of mine. He's a real popular guy with this group called Cool in the Gang. So we all got invited out to Wild Kingdom. I was actually started to develop a sort of business relationship with the designers of Animal Kingdom. So I came out there one day and I was looking through their exhibits and I was finding a lot of flaws in their exhibits. And I also gave them a little pointers about they need to create something called a rotation zoo, and that's for the stimulation of the animals. Because a lot of people, and this goes all the way back to when people think that you have a tiger inside an apartment, that is wrong. But they don't understand the lengths I went through to keep his mind, his spirit stimulated. Do you see what I'm saying? Because you can go to a zoo and see an animal frustrated, pacing back and forth.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? If you came in my house, he laying down and relaxed like a regular cat or a dog. You see what I'm saying? Because I always kept him stimulated, enriched.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to he Animal Kingdom, I started, giving him a little bit of pointers about, because I also studied management of zoos, from operationals to budgets to everything else, right? So everybody's like, yo, you went to school for this? I'm like, no, I taught myself all of this. So they was like, wow. So, I started explaining to them about some of the exhibits and things they can do to improve it.
I know they're like blown away. Like they're listening. You didn't go to school for this, and
Yeah, but you know what kind of put me behind the eight ball a lot?
uh-huh.
Was the whole fact that I embarrassed New York City. That's number one. And number two, I'm a black man. I hate to pull a color card because I think opportunity for those who strive to be better in life. Yes, it is a strike against you, and it's much harder. And the third and final thing is that, the pressure of trying to go against a whole system by yourself who don't understand what's going on. Do you know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
rather understand a big time drug dealer bringing keys of coke into the hood and killing his people. Like they give him an understanding rather than a man who's trying to show how deep his heart is, how deep his passion is.
Wow. Wow. So, so being a young black man and having the knowledge and the intelligence to do what you did and have, these creatures in your apartment and develop systems and things like that. And then everything coming down to them finding out about pets being in your apartment. How did you deal with that? Because you just said or they felt like you embarrassed New York. How did you feel, going through that whole thing? Because I get you with the stigma and, being where you're from and all of that.
How I dealt with it is like how I deal with everything else. If you listen how my voice is, this is how I am 24/7. Things that I'm not in control of, I don't get upset over. I just push forward. That's it. Rain, sun, snow, don't matter. I'm going to push forward. I'm allowed to let somebody else's will be stronger than mine. And as far as dealing with all of this going against me, it get much deeper because during the court process, they knew that, okay, well, the guy had a tiger. There's no getting around that. He had an alligator. There's no getting around that. You know what I mean? All should have been misdemeanors, but I was being charged with a felony, facing up to close to 30 years in jail.
Oh, gosh.
You know what I'm saying? For just having a tiger, a passion and love for animals. So I was like, okay, cool, let's go to trial. Because as we go through trial, I'm going to expose you all. It's things that I can sit here and tell you now, you'll be like, oh my God. But here's a little something to think about. When you live in a New York City Housing Authority projects, no matter where you at, New York, Chicago, Detroit, Dallas, wherever, it's mandated that the housing authority got to come in your house and do inspections. Had the tiger for almost 4 years, right? Which means you do 3 inspections a year, 3 times 4. That's how many times they came into my house while I had a tiger. That would have been exposed. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
So all of them knew all of this. You see? So they said, okay, cool. Let's break him. Go lock his mother up and charge her as his co-defendant. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at my mother, 76 years old, my co-defendant facing 30 years. I'm looking at him like, wow. So I said, let's take it to trial. But as I kept looking at my mother, I had to honor her better than this. I had to put my pride to the side and say, look, no matter what y'all do to me, I'll take it. Just drop all the charges on her. And once they did that, I was at peace again.
And let's just take a quick step back just for our audience who doesn't know the story. How did you end up getting, exposed as far as having the pets in your apartment? Just for those who don't know the story. This episode is being brought to you by Apartment Community Functions. If you need an event for your apartment, let us know. We can handle it. After all, we evented it. Look us up on apartmentcommunityfunctions.com. We're speaking with Antoine Yates. Where we left off, he talked about possibly having to do 30 years in prison. Even his mother, 76 years old, could do time. I asked him how they found out about the animals, and this is what he said.
Well, as you already know, and I think I spoke on it briefly, not in detail, but I literally locked myself up in the house. So I stopped going outside. I stopped having friends. I stopped dating. I stopped everything. Everything what I used to do was obsolete. My attention was on Ming and Al and the rabbit, Peter.
Peter the rabbit.
like I'm staying in the house, but I leave the house one time a day early in the morning, around about 8 o'clock when the supermarket first opened. I had money stacked up for days because I've been hustling for all my whole teenage life. I never really spent. I just saved a lot of money. And that was fortunate for me because now I'm able to, look out for our well-being. So I go by the supermarket out early in the morning, right? Go back upstairs. This one morning, I went outside to do the same routine, go out and get some groceries. There was a cat on my doorstep and it was dying. I brought the cat into the house. I studied veterinary medicine, so I knew exactly what to do and I knew what the symptoms was. So I nourished the cat back to proper health within about 2 weeks, 10 days, right? Program still continue. I kept the cat. Instead of letting the cat loose or giving it to somebody, stupid me, the animal lover, keeps the cat. So I goes out, and this 2 weeks later now, I'm going back out again to get more groceries. As I go out, I bumped into an ex that I broke up with because she gave me an ultimatum, either the tiger or her. Tiger didn't ask to be here. I gotta see this through. Do you understand? And if you don't understand that, please forgive me, but I have to make this move with him. This is a responsibility I gotta see through. But anyway, I seen her, and she was like, I left my stuff there. I need to get it back. I said, okay, cool. Now, usually when I leave the house within that 10-day to 2-week frame after just getting shadowed, the cat, I put Ming in a room because Ming roamed the house free with me. But whenever I'm leaving, I put him in that room and let the cat leave out this one room I kept him in so the cat can stretch and get the, fresh air and move around. So as I'm out coming back from meeting the girl, me and her kind of arguing, it threw me off because I was spiritually high at that time, being locked up in the house for almost 3 years doing nothing but spiritual searching and reading. I glowed like a jelly bean, like plastic. That's how shiny and vibrant I was. But I didn't have human contact. So when somebody was arguing with me, it threw me off. So by the time I went back into the house, and I said, well, you got to go in the kitchen, right? Because I could hear Ming hitting the door. It was like God wrote this script himself. As soon as I put the key in, Ming hitting the door, something he never do, hitting it hard, boom, boom, the room door. So I said, what the? I said, well, can you go in the kitchen for a minute, right? So I went to the room door and I opened the door. I said, yo, what's wrong with you? He dropped down, but he's piercing straight at me. And I'm like, I know he ain't looking at me like this. Now I'm gonna pause for a minute, right? Can you tell me one thing I forgot to do?
Shut the door?
No, I forgot to put the cat away.
Oh.
And the cat followed me to the room door. So when he was piercing, that's what he was looking at. The cat was at my leg. So as I looked down, have you ever seen that black Halloween cat that looked like his hair standing up?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's how Shadow was when I looked down at her. And by the time I went to lift my head back up, Ming came charging. And mind you, he I'm about 5'10", 5'9". His face is directly in my face on 4 feet. So on 4 feet, he's about 5'9", okay? But he's charging towards me. And the first thing in my mind was like, I can't let him get by me. Because if he get by me, not only he's going after this cat, because the cat already took off and ran towards the kitchen. Because I got a long hallway in the projects. Anybody know projects, there's long hallways. So my mind is like, I can't let him get by me because I'm going to pause again. The girl I sent into the kitchen. You see what I'm saying? So I jumped in front of him, and by the time I jumped in front of him, his impact went all in my chest and it knocked me down the hallway. But then I had enough sense to grab him because I'm still on, don't let him get by you. Don't let him get by you. So as I pulled his fur, he bit down on my neck. But he didn't punch me. He grabbed my neck and paused, and I could feel his breath like on my throat.
Oh.
I can literally feel the teeth. It's like somebody grabbed you and choking you, but not with pressure yet. It's like, yo, stop playing with me. You know what I mean? So as he went to jump back over me again, I yanked him again. Now he's a little bit frustrated, so now he bit down hard, but I put my arm up, so he bit on my forearm, and his tooth punctured my forearm, and now he hurt me. Now I'm frustrated. So I went to try to take my legs and push him up off me because he's right on top of me. I'm in this small hallway, about 4 feet wide, laying on the floor with a 500-pound tiger trying to get over me, but on top of me. She's yelling in the kitchen, ah, ah. So as I went to go push him with my feet backwards, he jumped off me a little bit and charged and grabbed my leg, and I heard the bone crack. I cracked like that, and he held it. And as I'm looking at him, his look changed to me. So no longer did I see Ming, I seen Animal Planet Tiger. And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't see him no more. His face changed to me.
Oh.
And I could see his predatory instincts trying to kick in. And he still got my leg in his mouth, and he's and the first thing going through my mind is I got to get my leg out of his mouth, because if he was to shake or pull, he's gonna rip my leg off, because his tooth went straight through my leg. He's literally through my kneecap. So let me be specific where he bit me at. So for some reason, I didn't think of it now, but I can say these words. Now it's a time and testament to my relationship with him. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I calmed myself down the way I'm talking to you now. As much pain as I was in, because the pain was shooting from my leg going up to my face almost. I'm like, Ming, no. He's still I'm like, Ming, no. Ming. They turned my leg loose. And he walked. I said, well, get your ass in the bathroom. Excuse my French. Because I got 2 bathrooms inside that apartment. So as he turned, going towards the bathroom, he turned back towards me again and made another charge, like shooting down the hall. And I turned my head, not to give him too much eye contact, and told him, go. I point my hand. By the time I looked back up, I heard them grunt, because they sound like horses when they going into mellow mode. They sound something like this. It's like a chant, so that's like a greeting call. Yeah, that's what tigers do. Lions do it as well. So he and he went in the bathroom, and I crawled and closed the door, held the door, and got on the phone and called my brother and them to come upstairs as I'm holding the door. So that's how that happened.
Wow. Once it was all said and done, and you took the bite, and you took the responsibility for everything, and you're sitting in that cell, what was your thoughts? Did you feel as though, hey, maybe there's something I could have did differently? Or did you feel like, you know what, I did what was best for me, and it is what it is?
Let me start off by saying I have no regrets, none whatsoever. Like I said, I wouldn't sell or trade or give away this experience for nothing in the world. I mean, I don't think it's maybe a handful of people that can experience an intimate relationship like that with one of the most feared animal in the world. You know, I'm not bragging or bigging up myself or anything like that. It's just the experience that I love. You know what I mean? I done been around countless, numerous people, countless, numerous animals. And one thing I have learned throughout both sides that whenever you're dealing with something that's innocent as animals, you start to learn a lot of different things that we are lacking in the world today. One thing is unconditional love. You know, so no matter who I am, no matter what I went through, no matter how big, fat, skinny, rich, or poor I am, the animal gonna love me for me. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't trade that off for anything. Now, far as regret goes, none whatsoever. Would I have done it differently? Just a little, because I'm more wiser now. You got to go through something in order to gain knowledge. It's called experience. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
yes.
yes, it's things I will do differently, not too much,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Mm-hmm.
will do something differently. And
Mm.
and and and, and I want to make this abundantly clear for people that may not understand this, because I don't blame people for not understanding it, because they wasn't there and they only gathered information from
Mm-hmm.
what was put out there.
Yes.
So number one, I never had anybody in harm's way but myself. That's number one. I'm gonna make that clear,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he was
Yes.
inside an apartment,
Mm-hmm.
concrete walls, windows with steel bars on the window.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, more
Yes.
secure than a zoo. Zoos actually have animals escape.
Yes,
Okay,
right.
so I
That's
wanted to
right.
make that real clear, that, and I don't think what I did was right or wrong. I just think it was something that I love to do, and I experienced it, and I was put in a position to be able to do it.
Mm.
And while doing it, I wanted to be the best at doing it. So I knew I took care of all responsibilities and factors. I had everything covered.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I didn't have covered was moving fast enough to put us in a better situation. And not only just for the animals, but for myself as well.
Mm.
I didn't want to spend the rest of my life living in the hood. He's selling drugs and killing people. Come on now.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, man, I'm going to tell you, brother, man, I am so just inspired, even more so now. I was then before I knew the whole true story, but even more so now, man. It's amazing what you were able to do. It's amazing your heart and the love that not that you just have for the animals, but that you have for your family and the love that you have for your mom. You know, that's just, you know, it's a special thing. And I love that you give her her flowers and that you speak so highly of her, someone that was in your life and blessed you to be able to pursue your dream. I just think that's awesome, and I think it's inspirational, man. And we appreciate you, and we appreciate your story.
Well, I thank you and I bless you for the opportunity as well. And as far as my mom's, I would do this for any woman, because throughout my years, I have learned that one of the most valuable and natural resources is not only just gas and oil and diamonds and minerals, but it's also our black women. They're our most valuable and natural resource, because without them, you can't produce an Antoine. You can't produce a next doctor. You can't produce a next lawyer. So we have to protect them.
I love it, and I appreciate you, and we're looking forward to whatever you have coming forward, man. And
Thank you. Thank you so much. I definitely will have something up and running within June. So keep your eyes
okay,
open. I would like to come back and put that out there so I can, share and give some opportunities for other folks out there. Okay.
is there any place on social media that you would like to be followed at this time?
Well, everybody can hit me up on Facebook right now, and or Instagram as Antoine Tiger Man Yates. So if you hit me on that until I get everything up and ready, because I don't like putting nothing out that's not ready to launch right then and there, because Yeah, I like to have my stuff in order. So that's why I haven't put anything out. Once June hit, I'm ready to launch and you'll see a whole brand new me 2.0.
Awesome. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, man, we've learned a lot today. We've learned about the power of love, and he has shown it to us today. So keep looking out for new stuff on By the Fifth. Be sure to like and subscribe. This is your boy, Roger Tico Trent. Peace out and good night. The name is Trent, Roger Trent, but you can call me Tico. What's up?